And just days to go before the 10th annual BRICS Summit gets underway in South Africa. Leaders of Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa will meet against the backdrop of increasingly uncertain times in global trade, with of course the US making aggressive moves to protect its own market. Well, Sumitra Nydoo takes a look at how trade is faring within the BRICS grouping.
Intra-BRICS trade grew from $567 billion in 2010 to $740 billion in 2017. But it seems China is the key participant here.
It's all about trade with China largely, if you look at what goes on within BRICS trade patterns. The other four countries trade a lot with China. That hasn't changed. Where we have seen some growth, for example, in the context of South Africa, has been in our trade with India, but not with Brazil and Russia necessarily.
Leaving China to lead the way could cause more upheaval for other countries in the grouping that are struggling with weak economies. US President Donald Trump's insistence on protectionist policies could have a serious impact on the global economy. Emerging markets are already feeling the pain. Increased intra-BRICS trade could offset these losses.
If you've got a slowdown in your economy overall, then you're not really going to be able to take full advantage of engagements with coalitions such as BRICS. So we've seen that in Brazil, we've seen that in South Africa as well.
South Africa BRIC trade has been sluggish, having lifted from just $28 billion in 2010 to $35 billion in 2017. China and India remain the most robust economies within BRICS and in the world. Brazil, Russia and South Africa are still lagging way behind. But BRICS trade ministers recently agreed to expand industrial and economic cooperation and better policy coordination under the new industrial revolution.
There's a very interesting developments on the commerce side, on things like policy coordination, looking at tariffs that are charged between BRICS, for import and export of goods. Very tangible, very specific things that the trade ministers are looking at, like, for example, between export credit agencies, the trade in national currencies, which also very significant, that basically BRICS nations are increasingly cutting out the US dollar as a global trading currency, which opens new possibilities, for us in terms of our trading relationship.
The BRICS new development bank has already made financing available for several projects that will improve infrastructure and the movement of goods and services. The aim is to work towards a BRICS free trade deal, which may come in the long term only after there's more of a trade balance between the five countries. Sumitra Nydoo, CGTN, Johannesburg, South Africa.